All right. Welcome to the live review, commentary, philosophical musing, critique of The Puppets Master. Now, The Puppets Master is a 2016 horror film by Gage Russi. It's one of his more popular works. It's not really a deep cut like Untitled Zombie Movie, or honestly, I would consider Apocalypse a deeper cut than this. It's a little bit like high up there in terms of popularity. Probably only beaten out by IRL, which that wasn't even like a completed project. That was just a concept more than anything. But we count those. Um, so in the live commentary, critique, philosophical musing review, we're just gonna be watching the video, and we're gonna be pausing it and talking about the implications that this has on cinema as a whole. So yeah, I mean, let's start the video.
Dang amount of money.
So we start the movie with a relatable protagonist. I think it's pretty safe to say that everyone has been out of money at one point and needed money. And I guess in this film we'll see where we'll see what that drives a man to do, which I think is an interesting question. You know, like when your back's against the wall, what are you willing to do to continue living? Like, is it even worth it past like a certain amount of struggle? This film will answer that probably.
Alright, let's do this.
So
I'll sell all my old toys.
So as our protagonist said, and as you can see on the screen now, he's resorted to selling his old toys. And there's an interesting conversation about this. I mean, I think people have debated on the meaning of this film for quite a while. But honestly, I think at the end of the day, a lot of this is about letting go. I think it's so easy for selling old toys, selling this old part of yourself, pushing it off, pushing it away. But as we'll see later in the film, I mean these things aren't exactly very easy to just completely cut yourself off from, and sometimes I guess they find a way to come right back at you. This is more of a set piece trivia. In the background, there is Monsterology and Wizardology. They're just two really good books. They're really cool. And that's all, really.
Huh? Oh.
So our main character receives a phone call, and then as he picks it up, the line goes dead, or the phone is hung up. And you see this cliche in a lot of horror films, which I think can go back to this sort of idea of, obviously not, no one wants to be cliche, everyone wants to do their own original thing, but at the end of the day, these things loop back, and you end up keeping these things with you throughout life. And it's an interesting conversation. Another call.
Oh.
Do you like toys?
And that's the first appearance, or not appearance, but notion that something is going awry. And up until now, it's been a pretty normal night for our main character. I mean, it seems he's just hanging out on his beanbag, but now there's a sort of air of there's a menacing air about what's going on from this point forward. A POV shot from. I'd like to go back to that. It was a quick POV shot from outside what I assume to be a window here, which I think is really interesting because I think most directors, they go day for night. That's what they film in, and they just edit and post. But I think Gage Russi, as a director, he values authenticity quite a lot, and it's something I respect in him quite a lot. I mean, if you look at his works, any sort of budget or like practicality, like other directors, where other directors might be like, oh, I can't do that, it would look bad. Gage Russi's ambition is never stopped by these things. He still continues to do them. I think it's very respectable for a director to have. But this is a POV shot from our little character, our little horror character. Perhaps the one that asked if he likes toys. But we'll get to see more of that. And honestly, I'm gonna assume if you're watching this video, you've seen the original Puppets Master. An interesting little. See, and we have a nice consistency with the monsterologies right there, I believe. But here is our main antagonist, our puppet, and he's merely laying here, watching and stalking. It's almost like this toy isn't out for purely revenge, but a sort of karmic punishment, and he's feeding off this sick desire, of just staring and watching the sort of power he gets from it. And we see our protagonist playing with that cup and a ball. Another relatable aspect is I can't fucking get that cup and a ball either. I don't. It is a stupid toy. And now he's being choked. And like I said, this goes back to this sort of karmic justice. After saying stupid toy, which I'd like to remind you, this is probably the character who called asking if he likes toys. And this is our character who was selling his old toys. And this is the toy. Now, does this toy have a mind of its own? Is it lashing out for the hatred of its owner/father figure? Or does this toy have telepathic powers and is still punishing him for his transgressions? Either way, our protagonist is in dire straits.
kill me.
Now this is another interesting scene, because in most movies you would you can hear someone on the other line. Whether that's realistic, I don't know. I don't call many people, but you can't hear anybody on the other line in this scene, and that might give leeway to this idea that this is all in our main character's head, or we're watching this from a perspective, from maybe an objective perspective, but the way our protagonist is reacting is completely divorced from what we're seeing, if that makes any sense. Also, you can see more toys strewn about. There's a little Kirito figure here. I think this one's Honeydew. This is Sailor Moon. And then this is a Beatles cup, a Minecraft torch. So it's all these toys and other things that one might be a fan of in their youth, but we might still be holding on. And I do think that's the main theme throughout this film.
I know, it's not great. No, please don't hang up. Cameron, please.
And he's talking to this character, Cameron. And one does have to wonder whether this phone call is real or not. Because I think if we consider the Puppets Master to take place in a realistic world where people act reasonably, if your friend called you in the middle of the night, very late at night, first of all, you might not even answer. Second of all, if they called you raving about a puppet killing them or wanting a toy attacking them, I think at the very least you would be concerned that that they're at least thinking this is happening. I think it just gives credit to another idea that this is not take place. Maybe it takes place in a more surreal world, but not one that. But I don't think there's another person on the line. Like in universe, I don't know.
What do you think I should do? Oh, I didn't see anything.
See, and he says he didn't see anything.
We'll call you back. Okay. Bye.
So, right here, this shot. I'm not gonna lie, I'm really tired. I hope you don't mind if I take my lunch break. And get a little drink in. It's all right. But see, this little thing here. I don't know what this is. This might be a book or something. But I think it serves to make the lens feel smaller, like it's in a narrower space than it is. It really gives you this fly on the wall feeling. Possibly another POV of this loose puppet creature running about. Who knows, really? But hold on. Well, let's just continue watching. He's browsing the internet, obviously. Perhaps looking to sell those toys online or looking up solutions on how to deal with a strange puppet. Another, I feel like this movie has a very dreamlike quality. Lynchian, some might say. But dreamlike nonetheless. It feels like objects are sometimes there without reason. It's like trying to recall a memory, and then sometimes bits and pieces of others get flown in without reason. Like these books. No one would put a book here, but this might be a book our character holds dearly. And so I think it's something worth analyzing. I mean, I can't tell what the back of that book is, but I think for the real Easter egg hunters out there, it'd be very interesting to know the title of that book. I did try and get in touch with Mr. Russi for an interview about the Puppets Master, but he said it was something that he didn't want to explain it. He's not a big fan of explaining his films, so I didn't want to push him. He says he prefers just to see what people come up with, and I mean, that's what we're doing. So we'll just move along. Listening to music. He's obviously very frustrated. He's waiting for something, or he's staying up. See, and he's playing with one of his toys. One of his, I think that one's Honeydew. It's one of those Yogg's-Tast fellows. But, I think in a film about a killer puppet, it is interesting that one of the forms of solace that our main character finds in this boredom is another, well, it's not a puppet, but it's another little stuffed creature. And I think that's very interesting. Time. Time is also usually a big motif. In the passage of and our inability to go back and recapture moments previously in time. I think that's a big theme of the Puppets Master, and some of Mr. Russi's other work, but we're talking about the Puppets Master for now.
Jesus. Oh, God, I forgot to call Cameron back.
So he's calling this Cameron character back. But Cameron doesn't answer. Now, is that because Cameron doesn't care about this this puppet attempting to harm his friend? Or is it because Cameron never existed? Or there was never a Cameron on the phone for our main character to converse with. And this is all some sort of sick punishment. Who's to say, really? I don't think there was ever anyone on that phone, personally.
Go back to sleep. Yes.
And now our character's deciding to go back to sleep.
I'm gonna go get some water.
First, he's going to grab some water. locked in his own room.
The door's locked. Wait, this door can't even lock. He was just turn on.
And that's interesting. So this puppet has shown possibly telepathic powers. And among other things, but this is interesting. The door is locked, but it's not capable of being locked. But whether we like it or not, our protagonist in this moment is trying to open a locked door. Now, this puppet has some otherworldly powers, or it's just holding it. But you can tell the difference. If it feels locked, did this puppet produce a lock and put it into the door? Or is this another slip of the mind that our main character is having? These sort of seeing things that aren't there, or not seeing things that are there. Who knows?
On the light. The line's been disconnected. What? Who did that? Okay, this is weird. At least I have my light.
So, to recap, our protagonist is locked in. The phone's been cut. And then, like I said, this goes back to a sort of karmic justice. Right as he says, "At least I have my light," immediately, as if on cue, the puppet, presumably, shuts it off. That light possibly symbolizing a sort of hope, an innocence. But regardless, that's snuffed out, and now we're left in complete darkness, the puppet's domain.
What? What? I won't turn on. Okay, something weird is really going on.
Something strange is going on.
Okay, there it is. Oh, there it is. Ha! Here we go.
There's a light. And this is one of my favorite scenes coming up, as you can see. Let's back it up a little bit to go
Here we
from
go.
that frame.
Okay.
This light, it's our only source of light, and that's one thing I also love about Rusty Productions, is the lighting is usually very honest. There, like I said, there's no day for night. There's no backlighting, so the audience can see better. You're seeing what our character is capable of seeing. It's just honest filmmaking, and I appreciate it 100 times over. But we can see, here's our puppet character sitting and watching, and our main character doesn't seem to take notice at first. He glosses by. It's completely black again, and he goes back, puppet again, and he doesn't notice him for a second time. He doesn't question the state of his shelves. I mean, he's been sitting in that corner for a lot of the night, and this is just another example of maybe seeing things that aren't there and not seeing things that are there.
As possible, because I don't know.
And the puppet's gone with a honeydew in its place. It's one of my favorite shots in the movie. It's just interesting.
We're just gonna have to sit here with the light before anything happens.
Okay. We're sitting there with the light. light wandering around a dark room has always mesmerized me since I first watched the film. It's
Let's go.
oh, he fell. But it's almost like our protagonist isn't the protagonist anymore, but it's this small light that he has, this small glimmer of hope and of innocence.
What the heck was that?
And he's obviously been tripped or attacked by
I need to get somewhere
something.
high.
His pile of toys befalling him.
Okay, we're here. Just gonna lay down.
And despite everything he's witnessed, being locked in, the light shutting off, the phone being cut off, at the end of the day, he just tries to lie down and go to sleep, which I think is admirable. I think it's telling of the human condition, where no matter how many horrors that the modern man is put through, at the end of the day, we can do nothing but try and go to sleep and wake up the next morning.
Oh! Oh!
See, and we hear a biting sound. This bite. There's blood everywhere. And it's a bite on the Achilles tendon. Oh, we can see a little bit of the puppet, but let's talk about where the bite is. Now a bite, I think it's the most primal form of an expression of violence. It's probably the one that most people learn the earliest, like children, and it's the one that almost every mammal uses. Like I said, it's primal. It's old, and like I said, when in your younger years, it's probably one of the first things you know how to do, is to bite at something. All the more reason for this puppet to represent a sort of young innocence, or nostalgia, perhaps, and attacking the point. Sorry, attacking a part of the foot that, if damaged and cut, that person probably isn't going to walk again. At least not in any sort of major strides. So, thematically, this puppet, this innocence, this nostalgia, is keeping him from moving forward in his life. I mean, it's stopping his forward movement and keeping him latched in the past, because it's angry that it's being left behind. It's something to think about. Our character's still... Oh, and then he falls off the bed. And this is such a nice little light up there. I really like this. It's so nice. now the light's down here with him. And the puppet's crawling at him. Like, again, a baby, a young, an innocent. And it only moves whenever he's not looking, it seems. Whenever he doesn't have his eyes on it. Sort of like, whenever you're not paying attention to the past and you move forward in life, it seems to surprise you how far away you've gotten. But in this instance, the longer you don't look at it, the closer it is. And the more it sneaks up on him being the main character, to trap him in this stage of his life. And this is us entering the end game for the Puppets Master. I mean, American Psycho has the shower scene. Texas Chainsaw Massacre has the chainsaw dance scene. The Halloween has the closet scene, and the Puppets Master has the bathtub scene. And you know, endings in horror movies are always usually very good. This is where we get the penultimate scares and the wrapping up of themes. And the puppet's already inside the bathroom. He can run, not very well with that Achilles tendon bitten at, but he can try and run, but it's impossible to get away from this past self, because it is you. No matter how far you run, it's going to be right beside you. It's sort of this decision on if you feed this, or if you kind of let it shrivel away, or if you know. And it's gone. Trying to patch up the wounds left by a younger self. He's changed clothes. This is another example of this unreliable perspective. I know I said earlier that possibly we could be viewing it as a viewer from an objective standpoint, and the things that our protagonist experiences might be completely different. But I think this is a case that we are experiencing what maybe our protagonist sees, but that might not be the real objective truth. He obviously doesn't know the puppet's in here. And after this whole ordeal, again, whether it's through blood loss or deciding, it seems to be he's hiding or resting, even. And whether it's the puppet moving them or the toys moving them of their own volition, our protagonist winds up covered in the symbols of a previous self.
They're holding me down.
They're holding him down. He's unable to move. He's unable to escape. He's unable to progress. And he's being choked for the last time. Stagnant. Just as the puppets like it. The puppet. The singular puppet. And that was the Puppets Master. I mean, obviously, if you're watching this video, I would hope that you have seen the Puppets Master, the making of the Puppets Master, and the director's commentary of the Puppets Master. They're pretty enlightening to the process of how Mr. Rusty makes his movies. He is a sort of one-man powerhouse when it comes to these things. These little short and sweet think pieces. Don't mind the no, I don't want to shut up. But yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed this sort of analysis. I may do some more Rusty ventures in the future. It depends. There's some lost media I would like to talk about, but other than that, I think I'm just gonna take my lunch and move on with my life. So yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed this video. I'll see you next time.